hoping the day comes where Jensen, you know, he wakes up in the morning with crust in his eyes.
Jensen Ma.
He grabs the leather jacket and he says, you know what? I'm going to turn it inside out today. We're not going for the shiny side. We're going for the inner shell. We're going to approach our gamers. We're going to say, hey, yes, we came out with some absolute dog water over the last few years. You didn't want frame gen.
CUDA, dude.
And, you know, I've been coming out here and I've been going crazy. It's over now. We're here. We're coming back. We're going back to the roots of NVIDIA. And we're going to come out with some voodoo graphics. Yeah. We're not going to have some bullshit-ass technology in there.
Shiny.
Right? To me, this would be nice. I'd love for that to happen. Because at least for me, dude, I don't like Lisa Su. I don't know what it is.
Stupid-ass name.
Maybe I'm sexist. Maybe I don't know. I don't like Lisa Su. Something about her doesn't resonate with me. Jensen resonates with me, but he's also like the guy that made it. Everyone has like a friend that was cool until they got a big head. They got some job opportunity at a big company or whatever. To me, that's what Jensen is. You know he's cool deep down under those layers, but his head's a little too big right now. We just got to squeeze it down. I've been PC gaming since probably about 2010, but somewhere around 2012, 2013 is when I escalated into full-on PC gamer mode. And so, you know, I had an Xbox 360 that I'd been playing. But, you know, I had been reading online message forums of these PC gamers, the PC master race, right? I wanted to join that exclusive club and get in there. And so I started investigating, right? Like, how much would it cost? You know, what are the best graphics cards for the time? And actually, I ended up settling on AMD.
7950.
Because AMD at that time, they had the 7000 series, which was a really good bang for the buck choice. It hit the market just fine.
And it came with a game. 7950 came with a game.
But, you know, I always wanted NVIDIA at the end of the day, right? I think when you're young and you don't have a lot of money, you go with what works. But NVIDIA to me was always, oh man, the cool factor. It always felt cool having an NVIDIA graphics card. I mean, even in the names, NVIDIA's always had much better names than AMD. I mean, AMD Vera, who cares about Vera, man? I want GeForce. I want Titan. They had way cooler names. The design was way cooler, in my opinion. So much cooler, dude. Oh, the Titan, the grills, look at the grills. The names they were coming out with, it felt like they were just people that were nerdy gamers and just wanted to think of a cool code name. Whereas AMD's, it feels like we're marketing people trying to come up with, you know what I mean? And so, you know, they had the look, they had the name. At this point, you know, 2012 era, NVIDIA had a really high perception for me. I would say the beginning of the NVIDIA's perception downfall was probably through the introduction of CUDA.
They were baking the oven. The cookies were getting prepared 350 degrees.
So this is actually before I got into gaming. I think CUDA came out around 2006. And CUDA was something that really had no benefit to gamers. It was mainly targeting, you know, supercomputers and university lab testing and things like that. But NVIDIA really didn't, you know, shove it down our throats too much. So it was there, but it wasn't that important. So like even their Titan graphics cards had CUDA. I would consider this kind of like the preheat of world domination for NVIDIA and the preheat of the downfall. And then, you know, they also had some really cool technologies coming out over the years, right? They had GSYNC. GSYNC was something that I invested in. This was right around the time when I got my first paycheck. So this is pre-college, but kind of, you know, I had enough money from my part-time job that I could afford, you know, spurging a little bit. And so what I did is I went out, I bought a GTX 780. That was my first NVIDIA card.
GTX 780.
Really, was G-Sync this revolutionary thing? Probably not. There was still some input latency, and so I didn't use it all the time. But the feeling of using G-Sync was incredible. I don't know what it was, but just turning it on, seeing no screen tearing, perfectly smooth gameplay, to me it was amazing, because prior to that, I had been battling tearing issues all the time. I remember I used to play Fallout New Vegas, and it was just a screen tear city.
I present interval 0. Good luck, pal.
Flick on G-Sync and you're good to go, right? So it really accomplished something that I had been desiring at the time. And they also had some other cool technologies like REFLEX, which gives you kind of lower latency. And definitely NVIDIA had pretty consistent cool tech coming out over those years. And so AMD, right? AMD was always there. They were always kind of at the door of NVIDIA. I would say AMD never truly won the flagship until I think around 7000 series was when they started to actually compete in the flagship area. However, AMD's always had this kind of issue where developers never optimized for AMD. You could buy a 7000 series, and on paper, it performed really well. There were some games where it would outperform NVIDIA's cards, and it did so while being cheaper. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Right? That's amazing. But unfortunately, if developers had to optimize for one, they always ended up going for NVIDIA. Maybe that was because NVIDIA had a closer relationship with a lot of the companies. I don't know the full details there, but you also had, consoles were going for AMD. So I believe Xbox, PlayStation, I believe they all had AMD cards. And even today, a lot of consoles ship with AMD. Combining those two, you really start to feel AMD is the bang for the buck option that people go with when, they just want something that will work. It'll get the job done. Sure, it may not be the best at everything, but it's way cheaper. And so it's ultimately worth it. And at this time, right, NVIDIA was still kind of the de facto PC head, I would say. It's kind of like how if you were to go and buy a sports car, sure, you could probably buy some Honda that technically has a spoiler, but is that really what you want? Like, you would rather have like a Lamborghini or something, right? That's kind of how it felt between AMD and NVIDIA. So AMD was the get the job done. It worked. It did the function, but you didn't feel cool while you did it. And so enter the post-AI era. So this is where I think everyone can resonate. NVIDIA started to feel a little bit less consumer and more towards we need a lot of money. So, I mentioned CUDA. The reason I mentioned that as the pre-warm-up is because really that's the downfall here. Holy CUDA, man. CUDA has been the talk of the town since the AI era started. Since then, Jensen's been pretty much injected through the neck with dopamine. Anytime a NVIDIA keynote happens, he's AI, AI, AI.
It's like he's introducing Jesus Christ every fucking keynote, dude.
His leather jacket is greasier than ever.
Like that.
Investors are extra careful and focused on him. So he has all this pressure now to, go big or go home with every keynote. I think recently, NVIDIA had this RTX Spark that they introduced. And it's pretty cool, but at the same time, it's not revolutionary. It's not that crazy insane. And the idea of local LLMs, sure, there's a market there, but we're not there yet. And it's going to be a long time before we get there. And I actually have a video on that. Talked about why local LLMs are such a damn hassle right now. RTX Spark and those, they're not going to fix that. That's still going to be a problem. Jensen, again, with all the dopamine he's been injected with, he needs to come out with some bangers. And I'll say this, right? DLSS, which also stands for Dookie Looking Super Sampler, it has one good feature that I like about it, which is the super resolution. I think that's pretty unanimously a positive. The ability to take a shitty computer and super sample to make it actually play pretty decent and look pretty decent. That's a good technology that I think we can all appreciate. But Jensen, with his desire and drug addiction towards investor sentiment, I feel like he took that and he went a little bit too far. And so we ended up getting tacked on DLSS features, frame generation. I think we've all complained about plenty over the years.
Let's put it in the utilities folder. Let's not even market it. Let's just put it as like
It's
an
bad.
optional
It's
advanced
so bad.
feature.
Started off, it pretty much always starts off, NVIDIA is the cool one, the one that comes out with this great idea. But we always end up trying to double up. It's like we can't just accept that we had this cool tech, write it out. We have to come out with another cool technology that we saw separately because it's not at the same echelon of the super resolution. Super resolution is the bee's knees. I mean, that's the Target to the Walmart. That's the Burger King to the Wendy's. Bundling that absolute abomination of a feature with something amazing, not the right move. NVIDIA today, at least for me, maybe your perspective is different and I'd love to hear it. It's time to win back the consumer. I think just because you have the market doesn't mean you have the consumer's mind. I think right now the consumer is hoping for somebody to come and save us. Intel came out with their Arc GPUs, and for a second there, it felt like, there he is. There's Chad. Chad is here to save us. But, Intel's kind of hit or miss, right? Sometimes they come out with some bangers and then they get rid of it, a la Optane. We don't know if Arc's going to be around forever. We don't know if Lit Bhutan's going to come in with his flocks of hair on a horse and say, hey, consumers, we're here for you. We don't know if that's going to last. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about it. I think if somebody had a gun to my head and said, hey, are you going NVIDIA or AMD? I'm still going to go NVIDIA. I'll do it with a mild frown on my face.